Remember why? Kills the bacteria.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Judy, I gave us both too much. It's still wet. All right, so we're gonna open our nail file. I can pop it open. And then what your guys are going to have to do is you're gonna have to season it. So what that means is you're gonna use your orange wood stick.
Nice.
And you're just going to lightly file the edges. And the reason being is because when these are mass produced, they're just cut, right? So that can leave some sharp edges. And if we have sharp edges, what do we think can happen?
Injury.
Yeah, we can accidentally cut our client.
Yeah.
And I can tell you my sister is a testament to that. My poor sister, it took her years to come back to see me after the first time I did her nails. All right, and then we're gonna open our gel brush. Should you just pop it open just like that?
Yeah, just pushed it.
Break it. This is so hard. You just
Yeah, like a straw.
oh, okay. Okay. So we're gonna do forms to start. So when you do a form, the nail, you don't have to remove the free edge, right? Because we want to build on there. But what I do recommend is if their nails are very square or they're very curved, you want to just round, hi BJ, you want to round the corners just so the form gets right in there, right? Because if their corners are kind of curved a little bit, when you go to put the form in, it's not going to sit as nicely.
Yeah.
And then it's going to leave a little gap, and then that's where product can get in there, or your nail's just going to be a little misshapen. So that's one trick that I do recommend. It just makes your life so much easier. All right, so now that we've done that, now we're going to push back. So you can use alcohol or hand sanitizer to place onto the cuticle. So I'm gonna use hand sanitizer just because this one's not in a spray bottle.
Yeah.
You're just gonna need a little bit. Work it in. And the reason why I like to use the two is because it does moisten the nail to allow for the removal of that dead skin on the nail plate. But because it's alcohol based, it's going to dry out the nail plate. So we're just going to gently push. Oh, you know what? I didn't turn on my light. I'm like, why is it so dark in here? Oh, it's not plugged in. Never mind. Do you want to plug it in?
Oh, that's fine.
No? Okay. Okay, so we're going to gently push. And you see all that white there? Like all that there? All of this here, you can nip. So you see kind of that little part there? Now nothing's gonna happen if you leave it on, right? Because not all enhancements you need to remove all the cuticle. You only wanna remove what's on the nail plate. But just for the sake of practicing, we are going to. So you're going to go in with them closed. So you don't want them any more open than that. Okay, because if you go in like this, it's too much space, and when you go to cut, you could end up cutting the live tissue. So we're gonna go in with them closed and just remove what needs to be removed. See? Now it's a lot cleaner. You could potentially move a little bit more if you wanted to, but you have to be very gentle because you're already pretty close to the live tissue. But another trick that I like to do, right, because when we push back, we're pushing all the dead tissue right under there. So then I like to go with them closed like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do like a little scooping method. And you see all of that that's kind of coming out. And then you can also remove from the sides too. Because all that there is going to prevent. Here, I'm just going to go get that. Or alive, right, will affect any product adhering to the nail, right? Of course, we're not going to remove any live tissue, but we want to make sure that we're pushing it out of our way. So now that we've done that, we're going to go with our nail file, and we're going to very gently scratch the nail, right? Because we're trying to remove that surface shine. Oh, there we go. Okay. And very lightly, right? Like it's very light pressure, right, Judy?
Yeah.
And make sure like you guys are talking to each other when you're practicing, right? Just to see how that pressure is, right? Because they can feel what you're doing, you can't. So very light, we're scratching. And remember, the hand does move, so if you need to get to the other side, just turn your client's hand to the side. And get as close to the base of the nail as you possibly can. So there's no more surface shine. Now we're gonna grab our lint-free wipe. And honestly, I recommend you guys, like if you're purchasing your own products, paper towels work just as well as lint-free wipes that you can buy from distributors, and they're for a fraction of the price. And I've actually found that lint-free wipes from distributors still carry lint in them, whereas paper towels do not. So we're gonna apply that. Here. And we're just going to clean off the nail. And you see how matte that looks compared to this one? Right? Yeah. So that's how you want it to look. So we're not like etching it till we remove everything. We just gently want to scratch the surface. So we're gonna grab our forms. And then we're gonna split it here. And the reason being is because it's gonna give you more flexibility than if it's attached together. So you're gonna bend it a little bit, right? Because it's gonna become straight. So you're gonna bend it a little bit. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So you guys will have to figure out what works best for you, right? Some people like to do it with the nail like this. I like to do mine like this because then I can just kind of follow it. So I'll get you to bend your finger like that. Always start at the middle. And then you want the corners to fit right in. So that is how it should look, right? So there's no gaps between the form and the natural nails. I'll just have it look there. Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna grab our prep, which is our dehydrator. And I recommend, until you guys become more confident with doing this, just do one finger at a time. It's gonna save you so much headache, right? Because if you have all of them all with the form, right, now you're messing up this one because you have to move the finger. So just until you guys become more comfortable with it, do one finger at a time. So we're gonna apply this on the entire nail. And then we're gonna use our primer. I think I grabbed the one that's like almost empty. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Let me just go grab another one. Because what's primer used for? Does anyone remember?
I think natural nail product.
But what is the primer's purpose? Add extra adhesion, yeah. So it's gonna aid with the adhesion. Yeah, perfect. So you guys were listening.
I was doing extra.
Okay, so we're gonna do a French just because that's what's on your exam, like your government exam. So we're gonna grab our brush. So we're going to build the French, so we need to build an extension, right? I won't go too long, right? Because I want you guys to be able to still be able to do things. And I actually don't want any of you guys to remove any of your nails because I want to demo a fill, right? And your nails need to be at least a 2-week growth. All right? So nobody remove their nails until 2 weeks from now. Okay. When your brushes are new, you need to kind of bend them a little bit because they're going to be stiff. So we're going to extend from here until maybe like about here. And let's keep the shape simple for today. So we'll just do kind of like a square swivel, and we'll practice shapes this afternoon. So we're going to grab a little bit of product because I'm going to show you a nice little trick to make sure that you get that good French line. So you're going to use, you guys see that string? We're going to use that string to build our smile line. So we're going to place it on one end. Okay, so now we have where we want our smile line for our French. From there, now we're going to add our border. Like I said, I don't want to make it too long. Again, just using that string. Okay, so now that we have that border, right, that's pretty decent shape that I'm content with. I'm gonna grab a little bit more product, and now I'm going to fill that in. So I'm gonna place my product down, and again, just using that string, I'm gonna fill in my gap. And always build the nail a little bit longer than what you want it, because remember, you're gonna need to file it. And make sure your corners are in. Alright. And if you want to smooth out a little bit more, right, so it's a more crisper line and it eliminates a little extra filing, just do that. So then you can put that in. So we'll do 10 seconds at a time because with gel, when it uses the light, it polymerizes a little bit quicker. Right, so when those chains are building and they're building at a very fast rate, put it in for another. When they're developing that fast rate, it creates heat, right? So with the light, typically your gels will always create heat. If your client is feeling heat, get them to take their fingers out of the lamp. Just sit it on top so it's away from the light. But one way to prevent that is to just cure it at smaller sections. So I did a flash cure for 10 seconds. Once that was done, right, and that kind of started the process, then I can go to 30 seconds. Sometimes even just do 5 seconds just to flash cure and then go in again. Did that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we can put our white away. So you want to make sure that your nail is fully hardened before you remove the form. So you're going to tap it. You want to hear that, right? That means that it's hardened. So now what you're going to do is you're going to remove the tops here. And careful, because these can get quite sticky, so you don't want to be pulling your client's skin. And then you're going to pinch the bottom. And be very gentle, because remember that's under their nail. There we go. And that's our French. I feel like I probably could have added a little bit more white, so I think I will, just to make it a little bit smilier.
मैं उधर देखा लग गया आप डायरेक्ट
Okay, you could put that one in, and I think I saw a crank. Because this one does create quite a bit of heat, so I'm going to grab just a little bit, and I'm going to do a thin coat, so I'm just going to paint it on. Okay, and you're going to cure that for 10 seconds. If you do feel heat, this is clear gel.
This one also gel?
Yeah, that one's just white gel.
Oh, white gel.
No heat?
No.
No? Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we've done that. So we're going to grab another thin coat, and we're going to paint that on again. And the reason being is because now I need uncured gel, so that when I apply the amount of gel that I want, then because it self-levels, right? So then it'll move around a little bit easier. So I'm gonna grab about that much, and I'm gonna place it right in the middle. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the tip of my brush. I'm just gonna glide it from section to section. Making sure that my application is thin at the base. And then I'm going to start bringing it to the tip. And if you feel you need to grab a little bit more, it's perfectly fine. But just grab a little bit. So we want to have like a nice apex. So the apex, here I'll do it like this so you all can see, it should be about right here, right? So it should have like a nice kind of bump, so it's like slightly going up and then going down. So as you can see, I have a nice apex here, but here I need to smoothen it out a little bit more, because you can kind of see the separation from the white to the clear. So you always want to look at it from all angles. So you're just going to grab the product that you already have. And I mean, if you need to grab a little bit more, you certainly can. But always work with what you do have, because a lot of times you have enough product on already. All right, so we're gonna put that in for 10 seconds again. How's it doing, Judy? It's doing okay? Okay. And then 30 now, because 30 is gonna be that final cure. free wipe and you just clean it off like that. Okay. You can put the little thing back, I'll do that after. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the same alcohol. So now you have to remove that stickiness, right? And now you can kind of feel where you need to file a little bit more. So now we're gonna be shaping. So always start with your borders first, right? Create your shape. So like I said, we're doing more of like a square with round edges. So we're gonna plan it. Now we want to make sure that this part here is matching with her sidewalls, which is this section right here. Did that hurt? Or?
A little bit.
Okay. So always pull back the skin, right? And if you guys can see right here, right? So you see all this here, we're gonna want to file this underside right here, just a little bit, not a lot. So we're going to pull back the skin and we're just going to file that because that's where those sharp corners are. I'll just round them a little bit. Right, so we're always going either up or down, not back and forth in this section because that's how you can cut them. And always have your finger here for protection. So then if you do cut somebody, then essentially you'd be yourself if it did happen. But I mean, if you cut somebody, guys, don't panic. It happens, we've all done it. It's just what precautions do you take afterwards? Okay, so now that we've created a shape that we like, now we're just going to buff it.
Sorry to interrupt. I have a quick question. Somebody's asking if the full body massage includes the face.
No. Okay, because now we need to smooth everything out. I mean, it's very possible that you did it very smoothly, right? But let's just say we want to put a top coat on. We need to again scratch the surface or else it's going to have nothing to adhere on. And if after doing this you realize that you need to add a little bit more product, there's nothing wrong with that. Just remove any dust and then go ahead and add more. So now we're just rounding this corner like the sidewall so it's not like that straight line, right? So it mimics more the natural nail. So when you do that, so you're gonna go to the side and then bring it out. And if you still don't feel comfortable doing that, then just turn their nails this way and then go like that. And then we're gonna turn their hand this way. Just make sure that it's straight. Use your dust brush to remove any dust. And do you want me to top coat it? Yeah, okay, let me just go get that. You could put that in. Okay. So you're just gonna wipe that sticky layer, and then you would put cuticle oil,
Yeah.
and then they're all done.
Oh, nice.